Hare Krishna, welcome to our new episode of the Bhakta Class. Today we will speak about evolution and science. Om Jnana Timandasya Chinanchana Shalakya Shakshuran Mritam Yena Tasmai Shigurave Namam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vistaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivanta Swami Tinamini Namaste Saraswata Devi Gauravani Pacharini Nirvishesha Sinyavadi Paskachai Desatani. Sila Prabhupada ki. Evolution and science. Evolution means the Darwinian evolutionary theory. And science, it's about the scientists who say that consciousness comes from life. Consciousness comes from matter. But we say consciousness comes from life, from the spirit soul, from the spiritual platform. And that, so this Sila Prabhupada has founded the Bhaktivanta Institute, especially to counteract or to fight against this misconception. Because that consciousness comes from matter is just a theory. They say at a certain moment it appears from matter, but when it comes from matter, when consciousness comes from chemicals, then why at the time of death all the chemicals are still there? Why can't they revive the person? So they say, as we cannot do now, but we will do in the future. That Prabhupada said it's unpaid check. It's a post-dated check, but you will never be able to bank it. So they will never be able to prove it. That because we see that life comes from life. That a man and a woman has their union. It's the impregnation of the seed in the womb of the mother, and a life is in the seed. That so without life, no life can produce. Life comes from life, and so it's just a theory. And then you have the Darwinian evolutionary theory that everything comes out. It is a result of evolution of species from less developed species to more complicated developing species. But the Darwinian theory has a lot of missing links, and it doesn't convince. It's just a theory. That so there are a few points here on the screen. I will read a few. Each species developing from a higher species is supposed to be superior and fitter for survival. On the contrary, we can observe that the ability to survive is the same for a worm as well as for a human being. Where can we observe that consciousness develops from matter? Why should a higher energy be developed from a lower energy? So that is what Bhagavad Gita says. You have the lower energy, the material energy. That, the lower energy is earth, air, ether, mind, water, false ego, mind, intelligence. Krishna says in 7.4, Bhumi Rapa Nalavayo Kama Mana Buddhevsha Ahankara Itya Me Bini Pragati Ashtati. So Krishna says these 8 elements, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego, they are comprising my separate material energies. So this is lower energy, Krishna says, separated. But then he says in the next verse, 7.5, Apariyam itastramyam prakritim vidimebram Jiva bhutamabo chaita purush dayate jagat Chaidam dayate jagat. It says, oh Arjuna, besides this lower energy, there is a higher energy, which is the spirit soul, the spiritual energy, which comprises the living entities, the spirit souls. And the spirit souls, they try, who are from a higher energy, they try to exploit the lower energy. And that is what's here mentioned is, why should a higher energy be developed from a lower energy? It's not possible. We are by nature higher energy. But unfortunately, we try to exploit the lower energy. But the human being is said to be the crown of evolution and therefore able to control this environment. Our observation, however, is that the human being is completely controlled by the material energy in various ways. Especially today, everyone is controlled by the medium, brainwashed by the medium, controlled by the mode of passion, ignorance. So why is it not possible for the scientists to calculate what the next form is supposed to look like? Why can't we observe any species developing into another at the present? Yeah, you have they say we come from the monkey. But the monkey still exists. Why all the monkeys did not go to this evolution? And we see that if we look at an eye is so a refined structure with so many complicated issues that it's so complicated. But they say life comes from bacteria, and so on, from this lower species, which are quite simple. How come from something simple, something so complicated develop? That it's just an idea. That if everything existing developed by accident or chaos and can be reduced to chemistry, physics, mathematics, etc., where is the independence or the freedom of choice of the living entity? So everything is random by chaos. No, there's a big intelligence behind the universe. All these material laws, they are exactly acting, that nobody can change them, and that the body is maintained, the digestion is controlled by a higher energy, not by us, all these things. So this higher energy that controls everything, they don't speak about that it's all by accident. But nothing by accident happens in this world. This is Prabhupada said, chance is in the Fool's Dictionary. Nothing happened by accident. It has a precise reason why things happen in this world. So if life is merely a combination of chemicals, why can't we bring a dead body back to life simply by injecting the missing chemicals? So that's just what they say. It arises from matter consciousness. But no, the soul is there in the body and consciousness is there. And the body develops in the womb of the mother. And once the body is ready, then the soul's consciousness is expressed to this body. Then it can use the body. So the living entity must wait till the body is ready to use that. Otherwise, you see that also. You have the body of an animal, a cat, of a dog, and then you have children. A very young child is like an animal. There's no much difference, no much intelligence. The intelligence cannot be expressed through the subtle body. It develops that. So that means, one can say, okay, the human has a soul, but the animal not. It's not reasonable. That this is a foolish conclusion. No souls. Animals have also souls. Even the structure of the most simple microorganisms are so complex that their cause of completely unexplainable is completely unexplainable either by mutation or by gradual evolution. Brain consists of billions of neurons which are linked in a higher complex network. So they think from a simple microorganism, the more complex come, but that's not proven. How can from some bacteria, the first life they say, such a complex eye, such a brain, it's just a theory. Sorry. Fossil discoveries prove that the opposite of what people believe. First of all, 90 till 99% of all fossil records are destroyed by erosion. Therefore, the method of coming to valid conclusions by the method of analyzing fossils is inefficient. And secondly, more and more contradictory discoveries are made, which are clearly show that the present primitive forms of today were simultaneously existing with highly developed forms. For example, all 32 types of mammals are found in complete forms as fossils without any transitional forms. Also, we cannot observe the primitive forms have become extinct. They are still existing. So all the visible and concrete facts we find do not confirm in any way to an evolutionary model, but clearly confirms in every single point to creationary model. So this Darwinian theory is even not a valid theory. No, Mount. So science. Sila Prabhupada said the scientists are not even able to create a particle of sand What to speak of a rose? Just a moment, I have to drink something.
Sure, Maharaj. Maharaj, if you want, I can also read.
So they are not even able to create a particle of sand. What to speak of a rose? That was in Bombay at that time. We had Prabhupada was at the Jew temple, and in the morning at 6 a.m. he was making a walk at the beach. At 6 o'clock, the sun comes up. And he would walk with his disciples from one end to the other and coming back. And when he was halfway, an Indian gentleman came to him. he offered his pranam to Prabhupada. He had a white Gandhi hat on his head and a cotton shirt, nicely dressed. And Prabhupada asked him, "What are you doing?" And the man said, "I'm an industrialist." I said, "Oh, and what are you producing?" And the man said, "We are producing glass. And the Prabhupada asked, "From what is glass made?" And the man said, "Oh, it's made from sand, silicon." And then Prabhupada said, "Oh, and who produced the sand?" And the man was a little pious and said, "Oh, it's coming from Bhagavan." And Prabhupada then said, "Oh, you are stealing from Bhagavan." Then the man was shocked and went away. Then after some time, they came back and the man was still there. He came to Prabhupada and said to Prabhupada, "But Prabhupada," he said to him, "but I'm giving charity also." And Prabhupada smiled, said, "Yes, you are a little thief." So the sand comes from the Supreme Lord. They cannot make it. Prabhupada said, "What to speak of a rose?" So where does the original matter come from when it's supposed to be the cause of, what is the cause of any other development? Of course, in the Bhagavatam, it's all the creation is described. Well, matter develops from spirit. That spirit does not develop from matter. Matter develops from spirit. Prabhupada gives the example like you have a lemon tree. It starts from the seed, it grows. Then you get the lemons comes on the tree. And then within the lemon there is acid. This is a chemical. So chemical is produced from the tree, lemon tree. One kind of chemical is produced from the tree. And the tree, it grows because of the seed, and in the seed is a soul. Without a soul, the tree cannot grow. So chemicals comes from spirit, not the other way. So modern scientists are not able to properly explain what consciousness is. So that this is a very important point. Because a few days ago, someone asked me about What attracted you to Krishna consciousness? And I made this point that the origin of consciousness. Consciousness comes from the spiritual platform. That's very clear. That, and that means we are not the body. Thinking that we are the body is madness. That's in essence what we are. So everyone is disconnected from his real self. Is confused about his real identity. And that's a problem of all other problems in this world. So one cannot speak from nature independently. As soon as we say nature, we must ask whose nature, who is controlling this nature? One can say, okay, it's the laws of nature. But who is the lawmaker? And who makes these laws working? Not, So materialistic science tries to control, manipulate, and exploit nature with the help of scientific discoveries. This is a fundamental mistake because the way nature is designed to bring the living entity to the point of understanding that the plan to load over material nature is a futile attempt. That the more you want to exploit and enjoy material nature, the more one is suffering. Not if we separate Krishna from his energies, then that exploitation will bring us in trouble. Materialistic science is constantly changing our theories, but is simultaneously always claiming to be absolute truth, to be absolute. There's so many theories, and they come up with new discoveries, new theories, and the old, they are abandoned. So this is not real science. It's science fiction, that's all. It's not real science. The research of the practically unlimited complex material energy takes enormous effort, but it doesn't offer any solution. That you can study material nature, but will you benefit by it? Not real. That you stay under the influence of matter. That thinking the body, that trying to exploit material nature. For what? What is the purpose? For sense gratification for the body, but we are not the body. Not. The Prabhupada says all theories coming from scientists are proven with experiments which are made with the help of imperfect senses and fallible and conditioned instruments. That imperfect senses. Trying with a body and a brain which is made of matter to understand matter. It's very limited. That with this brain you cannot understand anything spiritual. And that's a problem. They think what's not perceivable beyond the senses does not exist for them. But there are so many things that are beyond the beyond our senses, and which are still existing. That 150 years ago, at that time, they invented the radio and radio waves. And then they understood the radio waves are going to ether. There is an element ether. But before they didn't know about it, that ether exists. Not counted, yeah. Real science means to understand who we are, where we come from, and why we suffer above old age, disease, and death. To all these questions, materialistic science doesn't give satisfactory answers. This material world, if you try to understand this, that you are considered abnormal in this society, a dangerous element that becomes a Hare Krishna, that you cannot enjoy life anymore. Poor people. That it is so a disastrous situation in this world. Nobody understands who one is. That and therefore they suffer. And material science cannot help there. It brings only confusion in the whole thing. That because to understand our source, one must have spiritual intelligence. That and spiritual intelligence must first develop. And how to develop spiritual intelligence is explained in Bhagavad Gita. So, countries in which materialistic science is applied have increasingly a seemingly unsolvable problems. That and we see the problems in all these materialistic societies are increasing day by day. Are there less problems than 50 years ago, do you think? I don't know. It's so many problems, so many diseases, so many issues. Bigger weapons, bigger mass destruction, greater madness. Day by day it increases. All of the enormous efforts in science have an underlying motive, and it doesn't seem that these motives are of a spiritual nature, but purely materialistic in nature. The majority of scientists are working for the armament industry, and the general population has to make big financial sacrifices in order to support scientific research. Then 13, we can observe that only life comes from life, but also matter is produced from life. Lemon tree, lemon juice, I explained. So matter in itself is lifeless and moves only due to presence of the spiritual energy. So no matter can exist without spiritual energy. Therefore, there is also Mother Earth. Mother Earth is an individual. And therefore, this Earth is floating into space. That so this is the spiritual science versus the materialistic science, and the ungrounded evolution theory of Darwin. Now we come to the next point. Now we will discuss in the next lessons also here the quality of devotees, but then how to develop these qualities of devotees. We will speak about the process of devotional service, how to make spiritual advancement by things to do and things not to do, and that the bhakti It's a process with 9 stages from Shraddha to Prema, and that there are 9 processes of devotional service. So that we will discuss in the last part of this course. But first, as a spirit soul, we have qualities. And a pure spiritual soul has a lot of spiritual qualities. They are described in Bhagavad Gita. In Bhagavad Gita, in the 13th chapter, verse 8 to 12, is the process to develop this qualities is described. In the 2nd chapter, Arjuna is asking to Krishna what are the qualities of a sthita prajna, and spiritually realized soul. And Krishna gives so many qualities there. Also in the 12th chapter, from verse 14 till 20, so many spiritual qualities are given. In the 14th chapter, Arjuna is asking, what are the symptoms of someone who has transcended material nature? And Krishna gives again a long list of qualities. So all these qualities are innumerable qualities. But here in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Lord Chaitanya listed 26 qualities of a pure devotee. And they are mentioned here. That the first is kind to everyone. Devotee is merciful because he is the well-wishing friend of all living entities. He is not only favorably inclined to the human society, but also to plants and animals. He treats all living entities in such a way that they can ultimately be free from material bondage, go back home, back to Godhead. So the devotee wants to give Krishna consciousness to others, and therefore is the best friend to everyone. Is humble, does not quarrel with anyone. To be humble means that one is not hankering to be worshipped by others. Humility should not be artificial, but honest, deep, and natural. It will develop when the conditioned soul admit its wrong attitude towards Krishna and praise him for forgiveness, and to be allowed to be always engaged in his devotional service. So, yes. That is humility. Of course, these qualities, they develop gradually. But if one wants to know, where am I in the process? Do I make spiritual advancement? One can test by these qualities and ask one the question, do I have these qualities? To what extent? Point 3, truthful, fixed in the absolute truth. So the truth is, we are not this body, we are a spirit soul. And one must act as one's real self, a spirit soul on the spiritual platform. Otherwise, if one acts as the body, that's not truthful. Therefore, truthful, that Prabhupada said, truthfulness for a disciple to keep his vow of following the regulative principles and chanting 16 rounds every day. Also, the devotee should not perform any illegal activities, and he should always act in Krishna's interest and not in his own, in order to remain fixed in the absolute truth. Always acting in Krishna's interest, not in my own interest. What does Krishna wants? Acting as Krishna desires, not as we desires. Means acting as a spiritual master desires. Acting according to Krishna's instructions in Bhagavad Gita. Equal to everyone, a devotee sees the soul and super soul in everyone's heart and treats every living entity according to its position and in a way that is most beneficial for its spiritual progress. We respect all living entities and animals equally. That it's not mean that we will embrace a tiger. No, we act according to it, according to one's position. but we understand. Vidya Vinaya Sampane Brahmana Gav Hasmashunshvev Chvapakashapandasamadakshna. Everyone is a spirit soul, and we act with them on the spiritual platform. We see the spirit soul also in the animals. Try to give them prasadam, and give them shelter when they are under our care. Faultless. A devotee who in words, deeds, and mind is always surrendered to Krishna and executes Krishna's desire to the best of his ability is considered to be faultless. That always surrendered. If you act always for the pleasure of Krishna according to his instruction, you are faultless. Even if there may be an apparent fault on the material platform. Charitable. The devotee is charitable because he knows that love for Krishna is the best, and he distributes it without selfish motives. His charity has no limits, just like the happiness someone experiences who got the gift of Krishna consciousness. So he tries to give Krishna consciousness to others. Try to distribute holy name, try to distribute Prabhupada's books, that is, try to distribute prasad. These are the gifts of a devotee, charitable. Mild, a devotee avoids illusory materialistic happiness and thus is spared from the suffering which is bound to it. He always remains peaceful because he is satisfied within Krishna consciousness. So the devotee is spared from suffering because he's not attached to the result. He's satisfied with what Krishna gives him, and therefore is not under the grip of the illusory energy. He's clean and pure. The Krishna consciousness movement is meant for purifying the world in a revolutionary way by hygienic external principles, as well as chanting the mantra purifies the heart. So, yes, we are pure. We take a shower in the morning, and to cleanse the mind, we chant Hare Krishna, cleansing the heart, clean and pure. Simple, without material possession. The highest realization is to see everything as Krishna's property. The sincere devotee is not only satisfied to see everything as Krishna's property, but he also engages everything in a proper way in Krishna's service, without material possession. There may be things under our care temporarily, but we never think it's ours. No, we don't think that nothing is ours. The soul cannot possess matter. Not possible. That benevolent. Since Krishna consciousness affects the heart of every living entity, the welfare work of a devotee is not restricted to a specific race, species, etc., but for the benefit of all living entities. So the Krishna consciousness affects the heart of the living entity. So he acts always for the spreading of Krishna consciousness, and therefore is benevolent, always for the benefit of all living entities. Peaceful. To be peaceful does not mean physically maintain idyllic peace, but to experience real peace in one's relationship with Krishna. Only someone who has realized that there is nothing beyond Krishna can achieve real peace and fearlessness. That's Bhaktaram Sarapa Tapasam Sarvalokam Aishvaram Suradam Sarvabhutnam Gatvamam Shantam Richati. If one understands Krishna is the proprietor of everything, and therefore the enjoyer, the rightful enjoyer to everything, and that is our best friend, one attains peace. So peaceful. Peaceful means that one remains undisturbed in the most disturbing situation in this world. That's Krishna consciousness. The disturbing situation in this world does not affect one. We cannot jump to that artificially. These are the qualities of a pure devotee. Completely attached to Krishna. Devotion to Krishna is neither sentimental nor whimsical, but authorized and scientific. By practicing devotional service, we can learn to surrender properly. Completely surrender to Krishna is the goal of every devotee because he wants to become free of material desires. In order to serve Krishna more and more, complete surrender to Krishna is the most important of all qualities to be developed. So attached to Krishna. If we are completely attached to Krishna, we are detached from this material world. That's not really going together. But attached to Krishna, as I explained here, means attached to the service of Krishna and to following his instructions. And then by doing that, all our qualities develop. Because in the 13th chapter, the process of these qualities, development of these qualities, are described in verse 8 to 12. That 13, 8 to 12. So it's described here. Humility, pridelessness, nonviolence, tolerance, simplicity, approaching a bona fide spiritual master, cleanliness, steadiness, self-control, renunciation of the object of sense gratification, absence of false ego, the perfection of evil, birth, death, old age, and disease, detachment, freedom from entanglement with children, wife, home, and the rest, even-mindedness to make pleasant and unpleasant events, constant and unalloyed devotion to me, aspiring to live in a solitary place, detachment from the general mass of people, accepting the importance of self-realization and philosophical search for the absolute truth. All these I declare to be knowledge, and beside this, whatever there may be is ignorance. So this are 21 items to do to develop these qualities and attain these qualities of a pure devotee. Prabhupada in the purport says there are two important qualities from which all the others develop. And the first is taking shelter of a bona fide spiritual master. And second is learn from him the process of devotional service and practice unalloyed devotion. And then all the other qualities mentioned here will develop. So that's the development, the process to become attached to Krishna. Desireless. When one is fully engaged in devotional service, one realizes that all one's desires are satisfied. Thus one does not have any material desire anymore. One only desires to serve Guru and Krishna. So Lord Chaitanya said that that's the mode of pure devotional service. Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavatava, shri shikame, mamaja, mameshvare, bhavata bhakti ahaitukit vayi. Lord Chaitanya said, I do not want followers. I don't want contact with the opposite sex. I don't want wealth in this world. I just, Krishna wants your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. So that's only the desire to serve Krishna. Only the desire to serve Guru is the same. indifference toward material possession. A devotee may use things in Krishna's service, but he does not become attached to or dependent on them. He may serve Krishna with millions of dollars by opening temples, printing books, etc. But he is also satisfied when he does not have any material assets and then simply chants Hare Krishna. It was like Sudama Vipra. His wife felt that they were living in poverty and she could not serve her husband nicely. So she asked Sudam, you go to your Gurukula friend Krishna, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and ask him for some wealth. So Krishna went to Dwarka, visited Krishna, was nicely received, but he didn't ask Krishna anything. But when he came back, then he found his wife in an opulent palace with servants and so on. But Sudama Vipra lived as simple as before, like before. That although the big palace was indifference toward material possessions, then steady, fixed. The realization of a devotee should be so profound that this dedication to his spiritual master and Krishna cannot be influenced anymore by various temptations, suffering, or opposing philosophies. So that to come to that platform, we should come from the neophyte platform to the Madhyamadikar platform, where we are, where we have great faith in Krishna and we are totally convinced of the philosophy. You become totally convinced by practicing Krishna consciousness. Then you experience it, and that is the most convincing experience. That you experience what you are, the philosophy that you are studying, and then you become fixed. Self-controlled. There are 6 bad qualities, namely lust, anger, greed, illusion, madness, envy. A pure devotee controls these bad qualities by engaging in Krishna's service. These qualities cannot be left in an artificial way, but can be easily counteracted with transcendental knowledge and transcendental taste arising from one's devotional service. So self-controlled. So how can we get out of the influence of lust, anger, greed, illusion, madness, and envy? By always engaging ourselves in devotional service without interruption. And then these bad qualities cannot control you. And you become purified of them. Do not eat more than required. Lord Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita that the yogi does not eat too much or too little. This means practically exactly as much as he can easily digest. According to Ayurveda, one's stomach should be filled with half food, 1/4 water, and 1/4 air. That's not much. Not unless you have a big, big stomach. But what you can carry in your 2 hands is what you can digest in one time. So that's not much. So a devotee eats frugally. Then sane. A devotee is never intoxicated. Yeah, sane. Sorry, it's English. Sane. That a devotee is never intoxicated by material enjoyment. He reduces the requirements to a minimum and offers his whole life to Krishna. In this way, he is completely balanced. He's never intoxicated by material enjoyment. He's never under the influence of lust. If one is under the influence of lust, one identifies with the body, and then anger, greed, madness, illusion, envy will develop. The devotee is free from that, is never influenced by lust, because he's always engaged in Krishna's service. Respectful. A devotee offers respect to others without expecting anything in return. He respects everyone as part of Krishna and treats them accordingly. So the devotee offers respect to others, to all living entities. That respect is offered between devotees according to their position. That's explained in text 5 of Nectar of Instruction. To a new devotee, one who chants sometimes Hare Krishna, we offer respect in the mind. To the devotee who has received initiation, we are offering obeisances. And to the pure devotee who is always engaged in unalloyed devotional service and lost the propensity to criticize others, such a devotee should be served. We serve such a pure devotee as respect. But we respect everyone, also not only the humans, but also the plants and the animals. Yes, no material anchorings. A devotee is not attracted to material possessions, which help us to gain a material prestigious position. He sees everything attractive in this world as a reflection of Krishna, the all attractive cause of all causes. He sees everything attractive in this world as a reflection of Krishna. And that, so he has no material anchorings. That he knows, for the body I just need a minimum, and all the other things in this world, no attraction. He's grave, although he leads a happy life in Krishna consciousness, we are always engaged in material existence. We are always conscious that the material existence can be finished at any time, and that the way back home, back to God, it is not cheap. To be grave means that the devotee constantly think of Krishna and the ultimate goal of life. So that is grave, always thinking of Krishna. Compassionate. The essence of compassion is the distribution of transcendental knowledge. The basis of Bhakti Prabhupada's books and the force behind this is our purity. Therefore, a devotee always wants to distribute Prabhupada's books. Very important. Compassionate. The essence of compassion is the distribution of transcendental knowledge. Yeah, we just read that. And friendly. A devotee is friendly because he leads everyone to Krishna, who is the best friend to all living entities. So, because devotees are compassionate because they are really concerned with the person, not with the body. And concerned with the person means trying to extract this person from the influence of matter, from the influence, trying to save him from birth, death, old age, and disease by giving them Krishna consciousness. That's very friendliness. Poetic. A devotee is even poetic. If he is not literally active because he is able to connect everything with Krishna's transcendental knowledge, even if he is not literally active. Poetic. Prabhupada had so many poems when he arrived in America, Akina Bhagavat, Dharma, and the other prayer he wrote, Prayers to the Lotus Feet of Krishna. He wrote also many poems which were very much appreciated by spiritual master Bhaktivanta Saraswati Maharaj. Silence means that one only speaks of Krishna and not about material topics. Material topics we speak about if it's necessary for Krishna's service. Otherwise, no. It's silent. So silent does not mean not speaking, but not speaking anything else outside of the scope of Krishna. Expert. essence of the expertise of a devotee is that he can do anything for Krishna. The best expertise is to surrender to Krishna. So when in the beginning we must act according to our material nature and use it in Krishna's service. But when we become free from the material influence, we can do anything for Krishna. And we try to do it first class, expert. So this are the 26 qualities of a pure devotee. Next time we will start with discussing the activities of a devotee, 9 activities. And then in the next chapters we will learn how to make progress from one stage to another by this practice. So thank you very much. Any question, comment, please?
Thank you, Maharaj, for this really amazing class. And first of all, really want to thank Maharaj. You are squeezing Halifax congregation into your extremely intense traveling. And although, good health, bad health, you always give us an opportunity to associate with you. And Maharaj, my question is, how do we differentiate between my desire versus Krishna's desire? Although sometimes it kind of put us in an illusion that it is a Krishna conscious desire, but sometimes it's not. How to quickly differentiate?
How to quickly differentiate by Krishna's desire or our desires. Material desires are based on our own profit. That's the first test. Am I doing it out of love for Krishna or for me? Then the next test is, am I acting according to what Krishna advises in Bhagavad Gita? That we should act according to his advice in Bhagavad Gita. And that's the same as saying, do I act according, what I'm going to do, is that in accordance with the instruction of my spiritual master? That's practically the same question. If you have doubts about that, don't do it. Ask first advice from the spiritual master, of those who are spiritually advanced. That I heard Prabhupada saying in a lecture, if you are doubting, should I eat or not? You don't have much hunger, and should I eat or not? Prabhupada says, don't eat. That if you are doubting, just wait. So if we are doubting something, don't do it. Just wait and ask advice of those who are more spiritually advanced. But of course, with the years, we get more grounded in Krishna conscious philosophy and start to understand what Krishna wants from us in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. Does that help?
Yes, Maharaj, definitely. Thank you so much.
Good. Okay. We try to continue next week. Next week, Wednesday.
Okay.
Because the Monday I'm traveling again to Spain. But next week, Wednesday, I keep in contact about it. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Bo.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Bo.